Okay, good morning, students. So, continuously we are moving one session to another session. So, it is the work collected from DCE. So, it is useful for all the students at this pandemic situation. Today, we are going to discuss about conditional statements in Python programming. Okay, today topic under the 11th session is conditional statements. So in all the programming languages, what we say that structured programming, any programming languages that contains a control iteration statements, that program techniques normally we say that a structured programming. So here in this conditional statements, the basic decision statements in computer is selection structure. The decision is described to computer as a conditional statement that can be answered true or false. If the condition is true, that generates true. If the condition is false, that generates 0 false. Okay, that Python language provides the following conditional statements. One is the if statement. Another one is if else statement. If else if else statement. Then nested if else statement. Okay, here is an if statement, if else statement, if else statement, nested if else statement. Okay, these are the different decision making statements in Python programming. Now we move on to the if statement. Normally we say that if is a single branching statement. If the condition is true, it executes either a single statement or a set of statements. If the condition is false, then control moves to the next statement. It is not under the if condition. Right? The if statement is a decision making statement. It is used to control the flow of execution of the statements and also used to test logically whether the condition is true or false. Right here, syntax of that if statement, if test expression end with a colon, but in C, C++, Java, there is no colon at the end of that expression. Next statement is a indentation statement. So it 4 spaces, leaving that 4 spaces not equal to if statement, it is moves to the forward by 5 spaces. In that diagram, you observe that whenever that control moves to check the condition, if the condition satisfies, yes, it executes the conditional code. Suppose if the condition is false, then it executes the if condition is false, means that control moves to the other statement. It is not controlled by the if statement. Okay, right? For example, here we take as a input integer number, input enter the number, I less than or is equal to 100. So then I less than or is equal to 100, here is a colon, right? If that condition satisfies, print condition is true. Otherwise, which does not print anything, simply it moves to the other statement, is not controlled by the if statement. Okay, right? Here, suppose I input that entered number is 9, 9 less than or is equal to 10, yes, condition is true. If the condition is true, then that control prints that condition is true. Okay. Here you observe that it is a if else statement, a second statement, it is a two-way branching statement. In the previous one, if the condition is true, then only it executes the statement, otherwise which does not tell anything to the users or the programmers. That is a single branching statement. Now here is a two-way branching statement. Two-way branching means if the condition satisfies, it execute one statement. If the condition is false, it execute other statement. Like that, it is a two-way branching statement. For example, if the given number is even or not, to check whether the entered character is an alphabet or not. So to check whether that given character is an vowel or not, like that, two branches, if the condition satisfies, it execute one statement. If the condition is false, it execute another statement. Like here, the if-else statement is called alternative execution, in which there are two possibilities and the condition determines which one gets executed. Okay, if the condition is true, it executes one statement, otherwise it executes the else part. Here observe that in that syntax, if test expression colon body of if else body of else block. Okay, here in that flow chart you observe that that control moves to check the condition, test the condition. If that condition satisfies, then true statement body of if statement executed. If the condition becomes false, the body of else part executed. You see in that diagram or in the flow chart. Okay. Here is a simple programming example for if else statement to check whether the given number is even or odd. Input the number, enter the number. Here is a logical condition if number remainder 2. Remainder means it is a modulus operator which stores the decimal point after the decimal point values. Now here, if num remainder 2 is equal to 0, then that number is even number. Otherwise, that number is odd. Suppose now we enter that number is a 9, so the entered number is 9, that given number is odd because that 9 which does not divides completely by the 2, that produces a fractional values. Because of that, 9 is a odd number. So it is a statement in CRC plus we are using a else if ladder. If within that else if finally else statement. Like that, in Python, ELIF means else if statement. So it is a keyword used in Python in replacement of else if to place another condition in the program. This is called chained conditional. In other words, it is a if else if ladder or else if ladder. Chained condition allows then two possibilities and need more than two branches. Here, first it check the condition. If the condition is true, it executes that body of if statement. Then comes to the end of the program. If the condition not satisfies, it moves to the ELIF else if expression or second condition. If that condition satisfies, body of else if ELIF executes. Otherwise, that moves to the another condition number 3. If that condition is satisfies, it executes that condition number 3. It executes that statements related to condition number 3. Then it comes to the end of the program. Finally, it prints the else body. Suppose nothing condition is satisfies in the given series of conditions, so that time it prints last else statement body of else. Like that, here chained condition allows then two possibilities and need more than two branches. Okay, if it checks the condition number 1. If the condition number 1 satisfies, it executes that statements related to the first condition. Otherwise, it comes to the end of the program. If the condition becomes false, it moves to the condition number 2. If the condition number 2 satisfies, it executes the statement related to the condition number 2, then come to the end of the program. Like that, it checks the range of conditions. If that none of that condition satisfies, it comes to the end of the program, else body of else or last statements executed. This is the technique of else if statement. Here observe that in the figure real life condition flow chart. Condition number 1, if the condition number 1 is true, code block 1 executed. If the condition is false, it moves to the condition number 2. Then there they check the condition. If the condition satisfies, that time it executes the code block 2. Otherwise, it moves to the condition number 3. If the condition satisfies, execute the code block 3. Otherwise, it comes to the end of that program. None of that conditions not satisfied, it comes to the last else part. So it is a logic of else if ladder or else if chain conditions. Here we have to take an example to find the largest among the three numbers. We have to input the three numbers, first number, second number and third number of type integers. Now we have to check the condition. If A is greater than B and A is greater than C, colon. Both the conditions satisfies because and logical operator here, print A is greater. Else if it check the another condition number 2, B greater than A and B greater than C. If that satisfies, print B is greater. Suppose none of the two conditions not satisfies, it comes to the last statement, print C is greater. Suppose if we enter that numbers, first number is 10, second number is 20, third number is 15. It compares that conditions. After that, finally it prints the output result. B is greater because B value is 25. Other two values are 15 and 10. So that two numbers are less than the 25 because that B is greater. Here once again a nested if else statement. Wherever that word comes nested, either in the loop or in that macros or in the if else statements. So here within that one if statement to construct another if statement. So it is nothing but a nested if. So finally that prints else like that. We can write an entire if else statement in another if else statement called nesting, and the statement is called nested if, means within that one if statement to construct another if statement. So that is nothing but a nested if. In nested if construct you can have an if, else construct inside an if, else construct. So whatever it may be, that within that one if statement to construct another if statement, if else statement, it is nothing but a nested if else statement. Observe this syntax. If expression 1 it is satisfies, it check the condition number 2. You observe that both the if statements are in one indentation. Statements are moves 5 space forward, that another indentation. If that expression 1 satisfies, it comes to the second expression 2. If that condition satisfies, it executes the statement. Otherwise, it executes else if statement. Both the statements are not satisfied. Both the expressions are not satisfied. It comes to the else part. Here in this diagram, you have to observe that entry condition number 1. If true, it check one more condition. It is nested if. Within that condition number 1, to construct another condition number 2. If that condition number 2 satisfies, it executes statement 1. False, it executes statement 2. At the top of that condition number 1, if that condition becomes false, it executes the statement 3 and comes to the end of the program. Right? It is nested if. Here you observe that a programming example, input a number, Here is the condition n less than or is equal to 50. It check another condition. If n is equal to 10, print just it is a play cricket, else otherwise play kabaddi like that. Suppose I take 10. 10 less than or is equal to 15. Yes, it comes inner condition. 10 is equal to 10. Yes, it prints play cricket. Okay. If that suppose I take n is equal to 20, 20 less than or is equal to 15, in the first condition itself, the condition becomes false, then it won't checks if else statement. It comes to the end of that program that else don't play game like that. It is here our main concept is within that one if statement to construct another if statement is nothing but a nested if statement or nested if else statement. Okay, so our main concept is here to construct what within that one if statement to construct another if statement is nothing but a nested if statement. Okay. Hi guys, I think you understood in detail the conditional statements in Python. So it comes to the end of this session. A conditional statements. One is the if statements. It is a single branching statement. Another one is the if else statement. So it is a two-way branching statement. So nested statements within that one if statement to construct another if statement is nothing but nested. Okay. So these conditional statements are decision making statements. If the condition satisfies, is which execute one statement, otherwise which execute another statement. Okay, depends on that decision that executable statements executes, otherwise it moves to the false statement like that. So it is also a facility in Python programming to construct one within that one if statement to construct another if statement is also the nested if statements. Okay guys, I think you are understood the concept of conditional statements. These statements are also available in C, C++ language also. There also we are using if statement, if else statement, else if ladder, then nesting of if else statements. Thank you guys. Thank you very much. Thank you.